All right, let's talk about one of the most popular and maybe one of the most misunderstood cosmetic treatments on the entire planet, botulinum toxin. You've definitely heard of it, but the science of how it actually works? Well, that's a whole other story, and it's absolutely fascinating. And that question right there is really the heart of it, isn't it? If this stuff is so incredibly powerful, how in the world did it become a go-to for smoother skin? Well, the answer's pretty cool, and it all comes down to the dose, the precision, and really understanding what we're trying to fix in the first place. So before we can even get to the solution, we've got to understand the problem. So let's dive in and talk about wrinkles. I mean, think about it. Every single time you laugh or frown or look surprised, the muscles in your face are contracting, and they're pulling your skin right along with them. Do that thousands upon thousands of times over the years, and those contractions start to leave their mark. They start to etch little lines into the skin. Okay, this is a super important point. Not all wrinkles are created equal. You have dynamic wrinkles. Those are the ones that show up when you make an expression. Like the lines between your eyebrows when you're concentrating. Then you have static wrinkles. Those are the ones that have kind of stuck around and are there even when your face is completely still. Botulinum toxin is a total specialist. It's designed to go after those dynamic, movement-based lines. So what's the secret sauce here? How does this toxin actually step in and stop that signal that tells a muscle, hey, go make a wrinkle? Okay, there's that word again, neurotoxin. I know, it sounds intense, but in medicine, the whole game is about harnessing a substance's natural abilities in a super controlled, super predictable way. And the absolute key to that control is the dose. So a normal cosmetic treatment uses less than 200 units. Just keep that number in your head for a second. Because this really shows you the safety margin we're working with. The lethal dose is more than 10 times that amount. The point is, in the hands of a professional, the dose is so tiny and so carefully targeted that it's nowhere near the danger zone. Now, to get how this all works, you have to meet the main character in this little drama, acetylcholine. The easiest way to think of it is as a text message. It's the message sent from your nerve to your muscle that says, hey, time to contract. So how does the toxin stop that text message when getting delivered? It's this really elegant four-step move. First, it binds, or latches onto, the nerve ending. Then, the nerve cell actually pulls it inside. Once it's in, the active part of the toxin is released. And here's the magic trick. It blocks the release of acetylcholine. The text message never gets sent. The muscle never gets the signal to contract, so it just stays relaxed. And when the muscle relaxes, the skin on top of it gets to smooth out. Pretty clever, huh? Okay, science lesson over. Now let's get practical. What does the whole process actually look like from the moment you walk into the clinic? Well, it's a very structured process. It all kicks off with a consultation, a real conversation about your goals while the clinician analyzes your specific facial muscles. After that comes the prep work, cleaning the area, marking the exact spots for injection. The injections themselves are really quick and precise. And finally, you get clear instructions for aftercare to make sure everything settles in perfectly. And one key thing to know is the results aren't instant. You'll start to see things changing within about 3 to 7 days. But the full, final effect, that wow moment, usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks to fully appear. On average, you can expect those results to last somewhere around 3 to 4 months. Following the aftercare instructions is actually really important for getting the best result. The whole idea is to prevent anything that might make the product move away from its target muscle. So that means no lying down right away, taking a day off from a sweaty workout, and no rubbing the area for a bit. Now, you've probably heard the name Botox thrown around a lot, but it's important to know that's just a brand name, kind of like calling all tissues Kleenex. There are actually several different products, and a good clinician knows exactly which one to choose for a specific job. And one of the biggest differences between them is a property called diffusion. It sounds technical, but it's simple. It's just how much the product spreads out from the exact spot where it's injected. Some jobs need a product that stays exactly put, while others are better off with a little more spread. This table is a great way to see that in action. A product like Botox has low diffusion, which makes it perfect for targeting tiny, delicate muscles, like the ones that cause crow's feet around your eyes. But a product like Dysport has higher diffusion, so it spreads a bit more, which is actually ideal for a bigger, broader muscle like the one in your forehead. This is exactly why expertise matters so much. It's about choosing the right tool for the job to get a look that's refreshed and natural, not frozen. So let's boil it all down. If you're considering this treatment, what are the most important things to remember?
At the end of the day, it really comes down to these three things. Pillar 1, safety. This comes from using the correct, smallest dose that gets the job done. Pillar 2, expertise. This is non-negotiable. You want someone who has a deep, detailed understanding of facial anatomy. And Pillar 3, communication. You and your doctor need to be completely on the same page about your goals and what the results will look like.
And all of this leaves us with a final pretty big thought. We figured out the science of temporarily relaxing muscles for a cosmetic benefit. But as this technology gets even more refined, more precise, and more accessible to people, it makes you wonder, how will that change our relationship with the aging process itself? It's definitely something to think about.